Hi, this is Roger, thanks for dropping by. Now this is going to seem silly that this is getting posted in the morning, but it's only morning in the UK. In lots of other places it's not morning. In some places it's the middle of the night, and in other places it's afternoon. So it's almost irrelevant what time I post. People will catch up eventually to the time they normally view and it'll be there. Or it'll be there the next day, if not that day. So I don't worry too much about the time of day I post. This is getting filmed. I did notice that it is now gone 5 o'clock, and that's not dark out there. That's an orchid comment, not a cooking comment. But yeah, the getting dark point is getting later in the day all the time, slowly but surely. And if ever we get some nice weather again, where the clouds and the rain go somewhere else, then we might see get an even better view of it. It's things like the Northern Lights. They've been seen on the south coast. Well, I don't know who saw them because I've had nothing but clouds. In fact, the sun came out this afternoon. I was nearly blinded. It's lucky I've got glasses that go dark. And then I looked round and it had gone. It's a flash in the pan. Talking of flash in the pan, this is a cooking video, not an orchid video. I have essential ingredients. One's in my hand. That's to go with the meal when it's done, and also while I'm cooking. I always, when I'm cooking something that naturally has wine with it when you eat it, I like to make an early start. So we're making an early start. Now I've done this meal before, it's nothing new, but consequently I've got everything ready beforehand, because like I've said before in cooking videos, watching me chop onions and getting runny eyes and a runny nose, it's not entertainment, is it? Well, if it is, you're in trouble. I will find you. But yeah, some people like the cooking videos, and I can't please all the people all of the time, but if there's a group of people who quite like the cooking videos for whatever reason, then I'm quite happy to do some now and again. Not all the time. Oh, I must be getting bigger around the middle because this is not going to do up. Oh, it's because I'm trying to do a bow instead of a knot. There we go. Right, we have to put this on because the sauce has got food dyes in it, and if you get it on clothes, sometimes it won't come out when you wash. So we avoid that sort of thing. The only thing we haven't got out ready is some olive oil. And like I've said before, if you're cooking with it, then don't get the posh stuff. You're wasting your time. Extra virgin olive oil is lovely to have on dressings and salads and stuff, but if you're going to cook with it at a relatively high temperature, you're going to destroy all the good stuff in it because it's got a low, what do they call it, burn point, whereas the ordinary olive oil has got a much higher burn point and retains a lot of its goodness despite the temperatures. Let's get some fire going. Right, now I have, what we'll do now is we'll just bring the camera a bit closer and drop it down so that you can see what I'm up to. Something like that. Maybe a bit more. Something like that. Yeah, that'll do. Right, so we've got chopped onions, that's 3, I'd say medium to large size brown onions, which are effectively white, aren't they? But they're not red, that's what I mean. And then we've got some chopped mushrooms. Now I always use chestnut mushrooms, and I'd have to do a bit of research to find out why they're called chestnut mushrooms. Do they grow under chestnut trees? Or is it the colour? Never really thought about it before, but I thought about it while I was chopping them up this time. Right, so first thing that's going in is the onions. I know last time I did this meal somebody said that's a lot of onions. Well, yes it is. One of the main ingredients. And they cook down. They'll only be half this size when they're cooked. So that's that out of the way. And I always put the onions on early when I'm doing mushrooms as well, because they take that bit longer. If you put the mushrooms on too early, you don't get the heat into them, because the onions are still cooking as well. So I like to get the onions well going before I put the mushrooms in, and I get the onions right out of the way so that the mushrooms go in on the bare pan. If you put mushrooms on a heat that's not very hot, they tend to sweat, and then you get a sort of watery liquid comes out of them, and they don't fry. Effectively they're boiling, and they don't taste the same. You need to cook them fast. So we'll let the onions get going. I don't want that on volcano heat, we want it back a bit. Something like that. Right, we have our mince, that's our meat content. It's quite a large pack of mince. I won't be using it all. I will be saving some and putting it back in the fridge for Mojo's breakfast tomorrow. And for those of you watching this who don't watch my Orchid channel, you don't know who the hell Mojo is, do you? It's my elderly cat. He's heading towards 22 years old. He is a very elderly cat. And he is coming to the end of his time, but he's still a happy cat. And he's still good company for me, and has been for most of those years. Not all of them, but most of them. He was a rescue cat along with his brother, who passed away a few years ago now. 2-3 years possibly. But this one's hanging in there, he's doing okay. So we've got our tomato puree, double concentrate. We won't use all of that. I'm going to add some paprika, smoked paprika, because it gives it a little bit of a kick. And then I've got my packs of spice mix. This is what gives it its main bolognese flavour, basically, or it adds to it, let's put it that way. And then I've got my jars of sauce. These are store-bought, I don't make my own sauce. We've got a bolognese onion and garlic. We have another onion and garlic. And we have a chunky mushroom, despite putting some mushrooms in there anyway. We'll get the lids off of those. We'll get them undone anyway. Sometimes you get one that will not undo, and you have to stab the lid with a knife, make a hole in it to release the pressure. Right, so these onions are getting there now. As soon as I start seeing tinges of brown, I can see a couple but not enough, then they're there basically, because they're going to carry on cooking for quite a while yet, because we haven't, there's still other stuff to go in this pan. So that's everything that's going in there. Obviously I will cook some spaghetti, but not yet. Right, that'll do for the onions. They're just starting to catch. That's as far as I want to go with those. We push those right out of the way, and that leaves me an almost dry pan. Almost. Still a little bit of oil there on the surface, and then we move the pan over so that the heat is directly under there, and chuck the mushrooms in. We'll just spread them out as best we can to try and get them as flat as possible, so that as many as possible are actually touching the pan. And then they'll get a bit of colour. It's not burnt, it's flavour. As Jamie Oliver would say. He's been saying that longer than I have. So there we go. We will sit there and wait for those to start to colour up. And we'll give them a flip, and then we've got to do the same sort of thing with the mince really, is get the mushrooms out of the way along with the onion, and get the mince on the bare pan as well. It's starting to get a bit full. But the mushrooms, they will go down to half that size as they cook through. So what have I been up to today then? I've been getting highly annoyed and frustrated today, messing about with Zoom, the product that allows you to run meetings for people that are in different parts of the world, basically. With access to the internet, then you can get onto a Zoom meeting. Because the Orchid Society I belong to has got we're doing a Zoom meeting in the not too distant future, and we haven't done one with a remote speaker before. And Muggins here lost the toss when they said, we need somebody to sort the kit out and get all that sort of stuff done. And thinking they just meant physical kit, like laptops and projectors and wires and stuff, I volunteered because I'm good at that sort of thing. But I don't know much about Zoom, so I am a trifle worried. So we tried setting it up. I've got the Orchid Society laptop and my own laptop, so I had two laptops, so I could be a host and a guest at the same time. But we did have a problem because we got a horrible echo. Which probably wouldn't happen in the real world because the two individuals would not be in the same room. Echo and feedback, basically microphones forming a loop, but I was getting incredibly frustrated trying to sort it out. There's lots of people on the internet, YouTube videos and stuff like that, kept giving me solutions that were just dangly bits. Or cobblers, the polite version. They were just fundamentally wrong, and none of their solutions worked. In the end, I sorted it out myself. But we threw a tantrum. We had a swear, and quite loud. I know next door were out, so. And yeah, I was not a happy bunny this morning. But I think I've got it all sorted. Now, see what I mean with the mushrooms? Because they were cooked quick on a hot pan, we hadn't got all that horrible liquid. We've sealed it in, so they will be nice and juicy. They're just starting to get a bit of colour, not yet, and they've already gone down to nearly half their size. So you see what I mean. They do reduce quite a lot. Now I didn't use all the mushrooms, I kept some back. Every time I have access to mushrooms, which is only when I do this meal, very rarely otherwise, because they come in quite large packs, they're a bit of a nuisance. When I used to go to the shop and do my shopping, you could pick up a bag and like pick 2 or 3 mushrooms up and take them to the till. But because I have home shopping delivery, they come in packs. And they're a bit big. But what I do when I've got them on the go for this meal is I keep some back, and I will have a nice mushroom omelette tomorrow for lunch. The mushrooms will still be good tomorrow. Right, so now we need to get this mince on. Pan's still hot, which is good. Put it on in chunks because it's going to have to get broken up anyway. And then I will keep some back for the old man's breakfast. He loves the mince. And the goal with an Asian cat like that that's probably got kidney issues is to keep him eating. If he goes off his food, that will probably be his end. So I have to have a large variety of food, and he likes the fresh mince. He likes it a lot. It's not necessarily the best food for him, because obviously it's high in protein, which if he has got kidney issues, protein's not the best thing to keep chucking at him. But he loves it, and I'm more interested in keeping his appetite up, because that's very important. He's lost a lot of weight over the last couple of years, but it is over a couple of years, it's not sudden, which is good. But yeah, he likes his mince, so whenever I do a shop, I usually get a small pack just for him. But as I've got a big pack this time, I put some to one side, and he'll enjoy that. Right, so the mushrooms and the onions are to one side. They're still staying hot, they're still in the pan. and I'm just sort of browning the mince at the moment. Now this is very low fat mince, this is 5% fat. The next one up is 15% fat, which I used to use, but firstly with my health I don't need lots of fat at the moment. You need to keep that down as low as I can, and quite honestly I'd have a pan full of fat now if I'd used the 15%, whereas at the moment I've just got a bit of juice, which is probably fat. It might be added water, but it's so little I don't care what it is, if you see what I mean. It'll be fine. Now all I do with this is poke it around until the pink's gone, and then it's basically cooked. It's going to carry on cooking anyway. So that'll do, quick and easy. Stir the rest back in so that we've got a mix. We're all mixed in together. That pan's still quite hot, but we have a good way of cooling it down. Schlop. Now I'm quite frugal is the expression, I think. I don't like wasting money, and I like to save money when I can. These jars are on offer where I shop every now and again, and when they're on offer I get one, and then next time they're on offer I get another one, or perhaps two. When I've got three, I've got enough to make this meal, and I've got all three jars on offer. I don't buy them all at once because I don't need them all at once. Now, I'm into recycling as best I can. I can't do everything, but I do the best I can. So those will go to one side. They will get rinsed in a minute, and with a very small amount of water, and the thick rinsing in the jar will go in here. Now that's stopped everything bubbling. Jolly good. Now that's got to come up to temperature now, but I like to do that very slowly. Stops it catching on the bottom of the pan. Right, so we add a bit of water, not a lot. Whoops! Bash the jar against the sink, put the lid on, give it a good shake, and that, although that's a bit sloppy, it clears the jar out. So we're not wasting any, because there is still some left in the jar. So I always like to use that up. And then we'll give those a good rinse in a minute, a proper rinse, and they can go for recycling. That's that done. Jolly good, starting to bloop. That's the point where if the pan was too hot, it would start to catch on the bottom of the pan. But that's the thing with a wok. That style of cooking has quite a thin pan. The heat is tremendous in that style of cooking, the Chinese wok cooking. They do a stir fry, it takes less than a minute sometimes, because the woks are so hot. Right, so then we'll get this tomato puree in. Lots and lots of that. See, now a lot of people add a tin of tomatoes or half a tin, but I like the puree instead. It adds the taste, but it also helps thicken the mix. I like my spaghettis quite thick. Right, that will go in the fridge and hopefully keep for another time. I shall have a read, see what it says about how long it lasts. Give that a mix, just get it starting to mix in. I'm going to have a good stir in a minute, so I'm not fussed about getting it completely mixed in. So that's that. Now we're going to have some paprika, smoked paprika. And we'll have a lot more if it, the was just going to say, it's not coming out very well, but it will. I'm probably gasping a bit. But in a mix this big, if you don't put quite a bit in, then you just will not put any in. That's that. And then we will add some of this black pepper, again to give it a bit of a kick. Again, it might seem like a lot, but look at the amount I've got here. When you put a little bit on, as I say, you just will not bother. And I'll keep this out because when I serve my meal up in a minute, finally, I will add some more. Right, let's get that out of the way. Right, so we're getting there. Now we've got our spicy mixes. We need some skizzers. See, now these are foil packs, but they're recyclable. So I have to keep my eye on things nowadays because there's stuff that never used to be recyclable that now is. So what used to go in the landfill now goes in recycling. And I do like to do that. I do like to get that right. We're very wasteful by nature, us humans. And we're using up resources at a rate of knots. One day they'll all be gone. Not sure we'll still be here. Right, so that's that. And I don't like waste, so again, some fell on the counter, so we brush it into our hand and brush it into there. Then what do we do? What is on my hand? Chili, paprika, various other things. What would happen now if I had an itchy eye? We rinse our hands. I've been caught badly. So whenever you get stuff like chili or anything like that, if you're chopping actual chilies to add to your cooking, wash your hands. Because it's very easy to just get an itchy eye and rub your eye. And you will regret it. Right, so now we can have a good stir and get everything all mixed up. We're at the bubbly stage, so now that those spice packets have got thickeners in them, and with the tomato puree as well, you can see this is starting to thicken up already. And it'll sit and stew now for 15-20 minutes before I actually serve up. And during that time, obviously, I can cook my spaghetti, which takes, well, the stuff that I use, which is Italian. Basically, it gives you the guidance as to how you like to eat it. So if you like it a bit bitey, then 12 minutes. Whereas if you like it relatively soft, then 14 minutes. But that's only a couple of minutes difference. You've got to keep your eye on the clock, especially if you like it up the bitey end, because if you leave it too long, you've missed your chance. Right, so that's it. It's all stirred in, all mixed in, and we now get that heat down as low as I can possibly get it. And just let it sit there and bloop for 10-15 minutes. I turn the gas down so far that another fraction and it'll go out. It's that low. But that's good. And that's to go in the fridge. Now the one thing I don't do, because unfortunately I can't buy it in a suitable quantity, when I serve spaghetti, when I eat out, which hasn't happened for a long time in an Italian place where I could get a decent spaghetti, I like to have, let me just turn the camera around a minute, back where we were somewhere. Yeah, if I go out to eat and have a spaghetti, oh, not enough. Come on, concentrate. There we go. I like to have Parmesan cheese sprinkled on the top. I love that. So does Hannah a lot. She says it's not right without that. But I had a look at getting some this time, because obviously this will have some freezer portions. Parmesan cheese keeps quite well, but I can't get it in a small enough quantity for just 1 or 2 meals now and again. And by the time I get to the point where I'm on my last one of these meals out of the freezer, it will have long gone off. So it's a shame, but I don't have it. So I just use extra mature cheddar cheese instead, because I've always got that. That's always in the fridge. Mainly because I often have cheese and biscuits, little cheesy biscuits, for lunch. It's a very easy lunch, doesn't involve any preparation or cooking. You just cut a slice off the block, open a packet of biscuits, put it on a plate and go and sit down. Job done. Right, so we do have a couple of splats, which will wipe off a lot easier now while they're... Always get some of that when you do spaghetti. There's always a couple of sploops, same with curry, same with chilli. It's much easier if you get them off there and then. There probably won't be any more. There we go. And then we get the bits out to put it in. Now, a lot of people have said you shouldn't use plastic, put it in the freezer and then put it in a microwave. I'd like to know what else you can use that would do that, that would freeze without breaking and would go in the microwave without shattering or messing about. So there you go, it goes in plastic containers. I mean, after all, we've only been using the plastic containers for about 40 years and we're still here, we're not dead yet. Some people worry a bit too much. Now, I'm all for keeping plastic out of the environment, don't get me wrong, and keep it out of the oceans and all that sort of stuff. But keeping it out of me, the quantities that would come off of that, they're just not worth worrying about. I can't bother to even think about it. Right, so that's going to bloop. We now need one of those. And one of these. And some of that. And one of the very, very few things where I add salt. I don't add salt to anything, but I do add a little bit of salt to cook pasta, and it is a little bit. I try and keep my salt negligible as best I can. Now, I haven't added any salt to this meal. The meat hadn't got any salt in it. The paprika hasn't got salt in it. I doubt if the tomato puree's got much in it, but what has got a reasonable amount of salt are those sauces. And I just have to put up with that, because making my own is too much of a hassle. Too much of a faff. Right, so we need some boiling water. All of the water I use to drink, cook or do anything with goes through that water filter. It gets a lot of the heavy metal type stuff out of it. Gets the chlorine out, gets a lot of the carbon out, most of it in fact. And it ends up a nice clean water. If you really want to know whether those filters do much good, I mean when they get old they're not working so well, but people who drink tea that don't have milk in it, so people who drink neat tea, you make a cup of tea with your tap water in the kettle and have a look at it. If you've got hard water, I mean if you've got really soft water you don't need to worry about this sort of thing. And then use one of those jugs and make another cup of tea and put them next to each other. One of them's cloudy and one of them's clear. Well, obviously, which is best for you? So all of my water that goes in here goes through that jug first. So that's my coffees and any that I use for cooking. As I say, it gets a lot of the things out that we can do without. And the filters that go in there have changed. They've got a new, better version. No, they haven't. They've got a new version that's more expensive. It doesn't work as well. That's what they've actually got. I bet they wouldn't admit to it though. Right, so we need some spaghetti. Now, I don't measure this. I do, but it's sort of by eye. And it's basically geared up to what the bundle looks like. Now that bundle is not quite enough, so we will add a few more sticks in. I don't go mad on the pasta. It's one of the things I cut right down on with my new diet. But I don't have this meal very often. I mean, I don't know how many meals I'll get out of this. 4, maybe 5, maybe 6, but 4 I would suspect. And I will probably have a gap of at least a week before I have my next one. I'll have one tonight obviously, and it'll be at least a week, possibly 10 days before I have another one. And I sort of think the amount of pasta I'm having with that much of a gap cannot be doing me any harm, can it? And I enjoy this meal a lot. Right, let's make a little fire. What we do with this is we're supposed to wait till it comes back to the boil, but I'm quite happy to just dunk it in like that. Oh, of course you can't see what I'm doing now, can you? There's not much to see cooking spaghetti, is there? I'll just drop it down again and show you what I've done. So we've got a saucepan out, we've got some filtered water in it and a little bit of salt, and I put the spaghetti in like that. And it sits like that, the end of it goes soft. And then eventually, we get our fork, which is what we're going to eat the meal with in a minute, when it's done. This will come back to the boil soon, and then I'll show you what I'm on about. We need our big spoon. There's no point in trying to bend the spoon. There is no spoon. Name that film. As you can see, the ends are now soft, so it's starting to bend. And I just push gently, and all the heat's coming up the side of the saucepan, burning my hand, but so be it. I've got asbestos hands, basically. They don't give in very easy. But we'll just give it a little bit longer because it's not actually come back to the boil yet, so that they soften a little bit more, and then eventually the ends will tuck inside the rim of the saucepan, and that's it, we're in business then. Like that. And if you dip your finger in the water, you normally would make noises, but as I said, I've got asbestos fingers. When I do the washing up, you know, with my dirty crockery and all that sort of stuff, Hannah likes to help if she's here. She can't put her hands in the water, it's too hot. Yeah. Right, and eventually it all tucks in and it's all nicely in the water basically. There's always one that doesn't want to go down. And then we can give it a bit of a stir, but why I use the more expensive spaghetti is that this stuff does not stick together. Some of the cheaper stuff you get, if you don't start stirring it straight away, you end up with a lump. It all sticks together, it's horrible. And it's difficult to break it up again. This stuff never sticks. Right, so we've got that going. We now turn it down to a gentle rolling boil, as they call it. So just bubbling. And we look at the time, and the time says 5:36. I should have sat down to eat this nearly half an hour ago, but we're on the go, 5:36, so we need 12 minutes. So I will shut down and be back soon. Right, time for tea. We need to get some of this out, put to one side, ready to go in the freezer. Once it's cooled down, obviously. Got hot stuff in the freezer. There we go, that's one. Two. Three. We might need to get some more containers out. It's difficult to judge. 4, and although that's rather a lot left, I think I will go with that. In fact, we'll put a little bit more in each of these and we'll have what's left. So this has done 5 portions basically, which I'm happy with. Right, so heat off of everything. Big wash up tomorrow. I'm just running some of the stuff under the tap because let it dry on, it's a bit of a pig to wash up, so give that spoon a bit of a rinse. It'll be easier to do tomorrow. Right, so then the rest of this is for tonight, which is going to be quite a big meal, but I didn't have much for lunch. My breakfast was a long time ago. And because I'm filming, I've been an idiot, because the spaghetti should have gone on the plate first. But as I'm going to stir it up as soon as I sit down, it's not the end of the world. But yes, the spaghetti should go on the plate first, obviously. Do you know, I've never done that before. I am tired. This morning's saga absolutely wore me out, quite honestly. Right, so we need to strain the spaghetti. Let it steam for a bit, get most of the water off. There we go. And as I said, this should have gone on the plate first, but whoop! Some of that went on the floor. Well, I'm not picking that up and eating it, that's for sure. Right, so we'll do that. As I said, this is an upside down spaghetti, and then we have our extra mature cheddar cheese, and hopefully there's enough heat in that spaghetti to start this melting. As I said, it's all going to get stirred in together anyway, so it's no big deal. Shredding the spaghetti here. And then, where's it gone? Where's it gone? We add some fresh ground pepper to stir in with it. And that's it. On the grounds, I need to sit down and eat that because it will cool down quite quickly. So hope you enjoyed that sort of, and I will see you in another cooking video sometime in the distant future. Until then, bye for now.